everybody knows everything. But
pay no attention to me behind the screen. Thank you.
But thank you for being here for 25 years of Robotech. Actually, technically, you guys are actually the last convention of 25th anniversary because Robotech started on March 1985. So you guys just squeezed in there at the tail end. Documentary was a project that Carl had been talking about since last year. This was something that he wanted to do because some of his closest associates, people that he had worked with, which is including the musicians Elfie Ritchie and Arlen Over, and the supervising director, Richard Barron, they had all passed away, over the past decade. And so this was something that he wanted to put together because he was he was concerned that the folklore of how Robotech came to be was going to be lost at some point. Because he knew himself, and he wanted fans to know behind the scenes all the stuff that really happened. And the irony of that was the project was starting, and just before the project had gotten underway, he himself had passed away. But we're fortunate that he had pointed us in the direction, because without that, we wouldn't have known where to start, to gather all this information. Now, actually, I want to talk a little bit about Carl Mason. Everybody knows of him as the gentleman who produced the Robotech series. He was the first producer. Predated me by decades, and he had worked on many other very well-known series. His crew had worked on Totoro, the first dub, which many people believe is still the best dub of Miyazaki's film, and also Streamline Pictures. Carl instinctively knew about what a big deal Akira was back before anybody knew what Akira was. And they, Streamline, if you guys remember, released in the United States.
Before the Before the redub.
Before the, yeah. There's a lot of controversy. Everybody used to, dog on him, saying he's the butcher of anime, and then they're seeing like the reproduced stuff, like the new version of Macross that was done. And, they got good people working on it, but now they're reflecting back on his work back then. They're saying, his original stuff was actually really good.
I like the original Akira way more than the new one.
And anyway, here's a picture of Carl learning to draw. He was born in Pittsburgh in 1951. He was a very, very gifted student. He had been accepted to MIT, but he loved film, and he decided to stay in California. He went to school at Cal State Fullerton. He was, I think he was one of the first to graduate with a degree in the theory of cinema. It was critiquing or something like that on the theory of cinema from the university. So, and the image on the right is young Carl interviewing Sam Peckinpah, Oscar winner. So he was really into the industry from a young age. And here he is. This is Carl at Intersound working on Robotech with, I believe, the engineer is Leonard Araujo. And this is Intersound back in the 80s. This is some images that we never had before. Oh, darn, you guys already recorded. That's okay. These are safe images. But we had never released before until it was going to be surprise released in the documentary. But this is Kent Hayes, and sitting next to him is Regal West. This is Carl during the 90s. On the right, that's an image of Carl while he was working at Streamline Pictures. And then image next to it, on the right. The left is Carl at Streamline Pictures during the 90s. On the right is Carl at ADV Films during the 2000s. And this is Carl much more recently. Carl, a couple years ago, meeting with Ray Harryhausen. This was when he was working on the novel War Eagles. And then the other one is Comic-Con, the last Comic-Con that Carl was able to attend. And we got some, this is Carl on the left, it's him hanging out with Scott Glasgow, composer of Robotech the Shadow Chronicles. And on the right is Carl in April 2010. This is maybe like a week or two before he passed away. So yeah, Carl's legacy is leaving behind Robotech, and this is kind of good couple of images over the years. The image on top is Carl with Ahmed Grama with the staff of Tatsunoko. On the bottom is Carl with Ahmed Grama again. They're reminiscing about Robotech lasting this long. Robotech has had this interesting issue occur, which is it's essentially caught up with the future, and we've pretty much passed it. The F-14, which is the most advanced aircraft of its day, which was hot in the 80s because of, right after Robotech came out, there was Top Gun with Tom Cruise. Nobody foresaw that, the day that it was going to be finally retired from the U.S. Navy, and now you're hearing murmurings about how the F-22, which replaced the F-14, is now itself being retired, and now the Congress is, arguing over how much money to spend on the F-35. So,
Wow.
We've gone that far, since the old days, and yet there's, some magic about the original F-14 that the VF-1 was based on, and how completely unaerodynamic, boxy planes that evade detection would become reality. Or love triangles issues could be avoided if everybody just had a cell phone, and who was running the government the Zentradi blew up the Earth.
Oh, wow.
What?
I'm just looking at the White House, the love triangle thing you were saying.
Okay.
Clinton.
I was wondering if there was a political statement there or something. So, obviously, we've kind of future-proofed ourselves a little bit by, Shadow Chronicles being based a few more decades in the future. Obviously, we could go a little bit further, like maybe 2000, but maybe not. At least Shadow Chronicles based in 2044 will never catch up with 2044, right? Okay. Anyway, right now, Shadow Chronicles is very, very accessible. You can get it on Netflix. It's on Hulu. You can watch it for free. It's been released internationally. It's had a unified Spanish release. This is actually something that's been a big deal for the Spanish fans, that you've got releases both in the original Spanish and the redubbed versions all together, so you can either get it remastered or you can get it nostalgic. And Palladium, they've actually been delayed for a couple of years because with new role-playing games, they've been a huge, huge success. But everybody was holding their breath for the new generation. But that act is actually coming underway. They actually turned in a sweet cover design. Unfortunately, I can't show you yet because we're still finishing up the book. But this has been one of the success stories in Robotech's return to merchandising with some of our classic partners. And here you go. This is Robotech, the new generation, which is slated for release this year. And unfortunately, the Expeditionary Force Marines sourcebook, this is something we were actually rethinking. This was something I was suggesting to Carl to work with the Palladium books, because there was always this thought about reimagining how the Sentinel's backstory and the events of the Robotech expedition after Deep Space. And this is something we definitely still want to do, but this one's good. This one was originally slated to come out first, but we've delayed it to after Robotech: The New Generation. So that is going to be a book that's going to come out after the New Generation comes out this year. All right, Robotech comics. We've got them coming out right now. They've been sold internationally. They've been a huge success when they were relaunched with DC Comics. They had new paperbacks coming out. One of them being Robotech Prelude to the Shadow Chronicles, where he collects the original series of Prelude to the Shadow Chronicles. Also includes all new artwork that hasn't been that was created specifically for the trade paperback, with scenes to bridge with the Shadow Chronicles movie, and also has a lot more behind the scenes mecha